Hey our friends, today we're going to draw the Pumpkin King or Jack Skellington. It's going to be a lot of fun and I hope you're going to follow along with me. Let's get started. For this lesson we're using our Canson marker paper to draw on. I love using this because it works really well for layering and blending, especially alcohol-based markers. We're also using 3 color pencils, white, gray, and black. And if you have the same Art for Kids Hub marker set that I'm using, you can use the same colors. I'm using WG5, that's a warm gray. Then we're also using 23 orange, 35 yellow, 103 brown, 100 brown, also a cool gray, number 5. Number 2, this is a dark red, and then also our 0. This has no pigment and is great for blending, especially colored pencils. Let's first use our gray pencil. This is 70% Prismacolor, and we're going to draw the main shapes for the Pumpkin King. We're going to start by drawing his head. We're going to draw a circle here towards the top of our paper so that we have room for his body. Then we're going to draw his body coming down from the pumpkin, and we're going to draw 2 lines, and they're coming closer together towards his waist. And we can also connect those just to make simple shapes. Then we're going to draw his legs. First we're going to draw coming down and then bending. And then we're also going to draw this one coming down and then bending over here. Kind of looks like stick figures, so let's make his legs look thicker. We're going to draw the inside of his leg coming here to his knee, then down to his ankle, and then we'll draw it coming out for his foot. We can also draw it coming back in too. Now let's do the same thing over here. We'll draw the inside of his leg coming to his knee, and then we'll draw it coming down to his ankle, and then we can draw the foot sticking out. Here we go. Now if I ever go too fast, remember you can pause the video for more time. Now this pumpkin is a little big. I think I'm going to make it just slightly smaller now that I see his body. Let's draw his shoulders and that will help too. So we're going to draw the shoulder coming over here to his elbow, and then we'll draw it coming up, bending towards his wrist and hand. And then let's draw the other side of his arm coming out to the elbow. And then we can draw it bending around to the wrist. And I am going fast because I'm not worried about making these lines look perfect. These are just guidelines, and it's okay if they look messy. You can also use an eraser if you want to erase your pencil lines and redraw them, but I'm using this colored pencil and not worrying about erasing. Okay, let's draw his other arm. We're going to draw it coming down here and then bending up. And then we'll draw the other one, or the other side of his arm coming down. This might be a little too long. We can make it shorter. And we can draw it coming around to his wrist. And then let's draw his hands. We'll first draw a circle for the palm of his hand. We can draw a circle over here. And then we'll draw the thumb coming out, bending up. And then we can make it thicker. Let's do the same thing over here. Coming in, bending up. And then let's draw his other fingers. We'll draw bending down. They're going to look like claws, sharp claws. And then this one in the middle, we're going to draw it coming up, but we're going to draw it bending in front of the rest of the finger. And then let's draw his pinky or his small finger coming like this. Let's do the same thing over here. And I am using the Pumpkin King skin from Fortnite as reference, which I think is really cool how they did it. So it's fun to draw the skins from Fortnite because of the style that they're in. So I'm drawing all of these fingers here. I'm drawing them kind of quick, but remember to pause the video for extra time. So I drew them coming out, coming around, and then they're like this, clawing towards us. So we got this letter V that's in front, and then the rest of the finger comes around and connects to the palm. And then the same with the thumb, comes up. Now we have all of the main shapes. Let's add the details so that it looks more like him. Let's start with the pumpkin. Right in the middle, we're going to draw the stem coming out. So we're going to draw it towards the top, but in the middle. And we're going to draw it coming up both sides. And then we can connect those two lines with a circle for the top of the stem. Then let's draw this a little bit different shape than an oval. So I'm going to draw it coming in. Then we're going to draw it coming around here and curving in. I'm kind of changing the shape of the pumpkin so that it's not as wide at the top. It kind of comes together. Then let's draw the eyes, nose, and the mouth. First, let's draw the center of the pumpkin bump coming down from the stem. This is where the nose will be, right directly below the stem. Then we're going to draw a pumpkin bump that comes out to the side on each side. We're going to draw it. There we go, just as reference. And we can draw the eyes, angry. We'll draw it over here too. Now let's draw the mouth. We're going to start by drawing the letter V right underneath the nose. Then we can draw zigzag lines coming out to the side. And we'll draw a zigzag line coming out to this side. And then the bottom of the mouth, we're going to draw that letter V, just like we did in our other pumpkin lesson too. Then we can draw zigzags coming out to the side, and then we'll connect up to the mouth. Do the same thing on the right. There's our pumpkin face. Now we're going to draw his jacket. We're going to start by drawing a letter V right here below the pumpkin. And then we can draw a collar on both sides. And then there's a line right down the middle of the jacket. And then it splits and comes out to this side. We'll do the split on the other side too. Now for his sleeves on his jacket, his wrists come out of the sleeve about here, and they go past. We could also do that same thing over here. And then they're torn. So we're going to draw part of the sleeve coming down, so a big long V. And we can draw two more torn parts of the sleeve out here, and then connect back into the arm. Let's do that same thing over here. So we got a big long V coming down, and then another one coming out past the arm. Now let's work on his legs. Oh, also the rest of his jacket. It comes down from here, connects to that line, and then comes back up. Okay, now let's draw the rest of his legs. He has rope tied around his leg because this looks like hay. We're going to draw a rope here. Then we'll draw a rope on his knees, and then a rope down here on his ankles. Let's do the same thing over here, except there's just one on his knee and on his ankle. On each of these ropes, there's a knot on the outside. Oops, not on the bottom one though. That's okay. Then we'll just keep going. No mistakes, right? Then there's two pieces of rope sticking out from the knot. Oh, and there's two ropes going around his knee, and also two up here on the top part of his leg, and two pieces of rope sticking out from the knot. Then over here, there's also two pieces of rope and two down here on his ankle. At the very bottom, the hay or straw comes out from his ankle. So we got this piece of hay sticking out here, and then it kind of comes out to the side too, and his shoe is just sticking out from the bottom. And then that's the same thing over here. So we'll draw a line down, curve around, and then back into the rope, and then we can draw his shoes sticking out. Also on these ropes, they go out past his leg, so you can draw two little bumps going out past. Then also up here on his waist, he has a lot of rope going around. So we're going to draw a couple pieces of rope going around his waist holding them together. Oh, and right here on his jacket, where it comes together, down here it has two pieces crisscrossing to hold it together, and then two more stitches. And we did it. We finished drawing the Pumpkin King. He looks really cool, except he's going to look a lot better once we color him. I've got all my colors picked out for the first layer. We're going to use 23 orange for the pumpkin, 35 yellow for his eyes and mouth. Number 2, this is a red for his jacket. Then we also have 100 brown, or kind of a gold color. That's for the straw. Then we're going to use CG5 for his gloves, or his hands, and also his shoes. This part will speed up, so remember to pause the video and take time to color the first layer on your drawings. There's our first layer. It looks really cool, and we could leave it just like this, except I think we should add shading and highlights, more details to make it look 3D and even more realistic. I'm going to use a darker brown, number 103, and we're going to add the pumpkin bumps coming through the eyes and the nose. Then we can also continue that through and down to the bottom. Let's also add pumpkin bumps coming out to the side of the smile and also going behind the pumpkin. We can also use this to add a shadow on the stem. I'm going to switch to the fine tip of the marker and also add shadows inside of the eyes to make them look more 3D. You can make this dark part thicker underneath the eye to really make the eyes look like they're cut out of the pumpkin. Then we're going to repeat that same step for the teeth and the mouth. Now I'm going to use a warm gray, number 5, to add the texture for the hay, or his body. We'll first start right here on his chest, and we can just draw lines that are messy, coming down from the pumpkin and connecting to the bottom of his jacket. Then let's do the same thing for his stomach. We could also add a little shadow underneath the jacket. And then for the rope, we're going to draw the lines going across, but we also want to draw the rope texture, so we're going to draw diagonal lines going the other direction. Let's repeat that texture going down his legs. So I'm going to add lines. And this part will speed up since we're just repeating the same step, but you can change the direction of these lines so they're not all going the same way. We can add little shadows on the rope and also the texture lines for the rope going diagonal. Let's also add shading to his jacket. I'm still using WG5. We'll add a shadow underneath his collar. Also underneath the pumpkin, I can trace around the bottom. Then the collar. We can add those stitching back in. Oh, and let's add a shadow just kind of going all the way across the bottom of his jacket. Then I'm going to add a shadow from the pumpkin on his arm. And then a shadow underneath his arm, coming over to the sleeve. You can also add little shadows on those torn pieces. Oh, and shadows on his wrist and fingers. And we could do the same thing over here. There's our second layer of marker. It looks really cool and starting to look more 3D. Except let's add more contrast with our black and white colored pencil. We'll use the black to add darker shadows. I'm going to add a darker shadow right here under his jacket and also the back of his jacket, this part right here. I'm also going to use the black colored pencil to sharpen some of the edges. We can darken in the shadow on his sleeves so that it really looks like they're going inside. And then I'm gonna sharpen the torn edges of his sleeve coming down. You can even use the black colored pencil to add extra wrinkles on his sleeves, especially where it bends in his elbow. I also outlined his hands to make those sharper. Now I'm gonna add some contrast to the rope and also the hay. I'm gonna also add a really dark shadow on the inside of his leg. This will make it look more 3D. This shadow is just like the one that's behind his jacket. I'm gonna add that one here. You can also add a dark edge on the inside of this leg. And then also a shadow right here on the bottom of his leg. I'm adding a few more really dark shadows. Also remember, you can use your 0 marker, this doesn't have any pigment in it, to blend the pencil texture so it's more smooth. Now let's switch to our white colored pencil and add some highlights. First, I'm gonna add on the left side of our pumpkin head. We could also add a few little highlights on the pumpkin bumps going across the face. Then let's add highlights on the left side of the hand and arm. So right here on the sleeve. We can also draw it coming down his body. And maybe there's a little wrinkle right here too. And then some highlights on the left side of his leg. And we did it! We finished drawing the Pumpkin King. He turned out really cool, all colored in. I hope you took time to add the extra details, shading, and highlights. It really makes the drawing come to life. It looks like he's gonna jump right out of our paper. Also remember, it's okay if your drawings look different than mine. The most important thing is to have fun and practice. And I hope you had a lot of fun following along with me in drawing the Pumpkin King, and we'll see you later, art friends. Goodbye!